My name is Daniel, and I have the privilege of starting a little coffee roastery here in Peterborough called Rapids End. What brought me to Peterborough? True love for music. Yeah, there was 3 guys here in Peterborough that had a little band, and they were like, "Do you want to join our band? We're all finishing high school, and we don't know what to do with our lives. Everyone's going off to college." And I was in the same boat. It was kind of like our only option was to pursue music, and thankfully, doors were opened, and we teamed up with another local musician named Trevor McNevin. Yeah, he's in a band called 1,000 Foot Crutch. They were kind of like big brothers to us. I was in a band called Hawk Nelson, and we got to tour around the world for 15, 20 years. It's insane. And along that journey, I fell in love with coffee. On tour, one of my favorite things to do was explore towns and find little coffee shops and kind of like the places where people are and things are happening. And as we did our first 2 albums in Seattle, Seattle happens just to be a big coffee hub. Fell in love with coffee there and little roasteries, and I thought, could I do this someday? And it was always the question. People are like, what are you gonna do when you know, music's done? And then I was caught in this, like, the crossfires of like music kind of going away, and well, I love coffee. So my wife was like on board, even though she doesn't drink it. She was like, I support you, and I think you should go for it. And I find it similar in sense of like starting a band, starting a new venture. It's all risk, but if you do something that you love, I really encourage people to do that, because like chasing money or like status and all that stuff, like it's really not gonna fulfill, I don't think, at the end of the day. But if you're doing something you love, and even if you're not like, even if you're just like barely squeaking by, like you love what you do. And I don't know, I would trade it all for that. Yeah, so we're here on Rye Street, 721 Rye Street, Unit 8, and just started this last summer in 2019. And I've been roasting for a local coffee place called Carolina's Columbia. Kind of got my feet wet doing that. And you know, my dream someday, I'm realizing, is probably a little roastery cafe, maybe somewhere more central in the core of downtown, somewhere maybe East City. I don't know, you tell me. What's there not to love about the whole Kawartha area? It has everything you need. Okay, I'm talking, for me at least. I love nature, so I love getting out and seeing parks. I'm a beekeeper, so I've got bees in the backyard. I love you're close enough to the city if you need it for certain amenities, but the Kawarthas is like a big, I think of it as like a big breath of fresh air in and like an exhale. Like it's peaceful, and people actually talk to each other, and there's still like a sense of community here, which I feel like is like a fleeting thing in society. So just today, a friend of mine, Graham from Hard Winter, stopped in, and while I was roasting, we just chatted about life and family, and it's like, I don't know, that means something to me. No, it literally, I know, I've never said that before, it wasn't fabricated, but when I flew home yesterday from Portland and get through Whole 401, and you get into Peterborough County, and you get into Peterborough, and you park, it's just so satisfying. Yeah, I haven't actually got into roasting like tons of kinds of coffee, because I want to only serve coffees that I really believe in. Like, I want to trace it back to the farm, I want to know their practices, I want to know if it's organic, I want to know like that they're getting paid fair, and then I'm paying fairly for it. Quantity is not really the name of the game for Rapids End, it's more about quality. And understanding the whole supply chain of like the coffee industry. Some people don't know this, but coffee is actually the 2nd largest traded commodity in the whole world, next to oil. Like, a lot of people are taken advantage of at the farm level, and that's not cool. And finally, people are starting to wake up, being socially conscious, and like, okay, what's going on? Obviously, fair trade has helped some with that, and micro roasteries are taking it one step further and working directly with farmers, so that it's like, hey, if I invest in you and your family, then you can actually like do a better job and get better coffee to market, thus making customers happier with better tasting coffee. So that's what we're trying to do. We got the name Rapids End. We borrowed it actually from the Aboriginal name for the area, which some people know is Nogojiwanang, and that means place at the end of the rapids. And so between here and Lakefield is actually like a very high incline. And there was all these like rapids before like we tamed the river. But that's why we have the lift lock in the first place, because of those rapids. And Rapids End, other than just like honoring that name and traditional name of the area, I feel like it's something we all have in our life too. We all experience turbulence and rapids and like an onslaught of like, just like, you know when the world's just beating you down and like, there's just no way, like we're all gonna face that. But Rapids End is like about taking a moment just to like, I guess exhale is the theme today. Have a cup of coffee, relax, talk with your friends. I don't know, just something there. For me, if I roast something today, like we did, and I know that 80% of the CO2 will leave that bean by tomorrow, within 24 hours, then it's gonna start tasting actually like it should. And then at around day 5 to 7, it kind of like hits its peak. You're gonna get all the aromas. You actually wanna let it rest. And then you got like a 2-week window of where it's like at its peak. And every coffee is a little different. And then it starts to go down. So you still have some time, but really in general, from the day it's roasted, I like people to have it consumed within a month. Coffee Arabica is these right here. They're just coffee seeds that are been sprouted and growing. They're unroasted, so they're still alive. Coffee beans are really the seeds inside of a coffee cherry, which is a fruit. So when we're drinking coffee, we're actually drinking fruit. And it's cool. There's all these different processes of how they like let those sugars from the fruit go into the seed before they come to us green and raw. They have to be dried out to a certain percentage so they don't spoil on the journey, because obviously I'm not harvesting coffee off these plants in Canada, I'll tell you that much. And yeah, so it's a seed. And then when you roast it, all those about up to 800 different chemical compounds are released through the process of roasting. Think of like bread raw and then like bread sourdough like actually baked, and like all those aromas and like the Maillard reaction, all those chemical reactions that are happening. It's amazing. It's like literally like mind-blowing. Anyways, that's coffee. You need to thermally charge this double steel-walled, cast iron plated roaster. And when you load the beans in through the hopper, they go in, they go through what's called the soak. They're absorbing all that heat. You then apply more gas, and the bean is warming up and going through its chemical changes. And then at first crack, that's the most exciting event, when the beans go from endothermic to exothermic, and they're bursting like basically the same like popcorn, like a popcorn seed in the microwave. It's taking all this heat, and then I can't handle it anymore, and it lets its moisture out. And it's pretty exciting. Then you develop the coffee bean a little longer, and you can see the color changing. And then you drop it into the cooling tray, and you basically want it to cool as fast as possible, then let it rest, then get it into people's cups as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm still excited about it like music. Yeah, basically, I really believe in keeping a very clean operation with the machine, because like any oils in any foods, they will go rancid if left or warmed up repeatedly. So every day I have a routine where I take it all apart, clean out all the chaff, which is like a skin coming off of the seed. That all gets collected in the bottom of the tray. And I like to get all the oils out of there. And I really believe that like the cleaner you keep something, the better the coffee is going to turn out the next time. I really like Instagram for some reason. I feel like it's just a really easy way to communicate with people and post things, and every day you got your stories and stuff.
Whatever else you want to ask me?
You're like, we're done, mic drop.
I'm done.